Hey, what's going on with you? New episode of Overtime coming at you. We are recapping episodes 3 and 4 of HBO's Winning Time, and we finally get into some basketball. So I'm excited. Won't keep y'all no longer. Let's just get right into it. Tim?
I'm sorry, this is new for me. But it's your boy TIMKINZD number 3, aka Ass Catching, aka Mr. Give It To Me. It was worth the wait.
I am DRJ.
Only known as
DRJ.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door, holding it down for all the women who love sports.
And it's your boy K Harris, the gentleman.
The gentleman.
The everyday gentleman.
24/7.
But better known as K Diddy.
Take that. All right, y'all. We already told you what we're getting into. Episode 3. The Good Life is what this episode was titled. 3 major storylines in this episode. So, gentlemen, y'all let me know where y'all want to start when discussing episode 3. We got them trying to find a new head coach for the Lakers because in episode 2, at the end of it, Jerry West resigned in a, I won't say flamboyant manner, but a public manner. Other storyline you have is Magic Johnson moving out to LA. And then storyline C is a little bit smaller than the other 2, but trying to make the team profitable, where you see Claire and Jeannie working together and trying to brainstorm some things and learning more about the Lakers' financials. So where do y'all want to start with episode 3?
Coaching.
You say coaching?
Yep.
All right. You see a few different things with the coaching search. The first thing that came to mind for me was just seeing Pat Riley. First of all, the actor that's playing Pat Riley looks a lot like him.
The old
but yeah. But for me as a non-Lakers fan, I didn't know much about for me, Showtime coach is Pat Riley. So for me to see him as the show kept calling him a loser was
bum.
Dang near. Every time
that's the most PC thing that they called him in that episode.
Yeah.
Man, listen,
he was like bad.
Yeah, like everybody's tripping about like how Jerry West is portrayed. Like Chick Hearn, the family of Chick Hearn needs to be the one that has an issue because he said some stuff like under the radar.
Boy.
Yeah,
he's getting his shit off in that one-on-one with Pat. It was like, damn, my guy.
When he said his voice was kind of effy, I said, "Oh my goodness!" Like I get it's supposed to, show how different the time was and whatnot, but it's so jarring to me still to hear certain language like that. Like 40 years ago, where you're just like, we've come away in 40 years.
In some ways,
yes, in some ways, there has been some progress made, but. What was your thoughts on Pat Riley and just his whole storyline?
He was a bum.
Why you do my man's like that, man?
That was my question in there. Why they giving Pat Riley the hobo treatment?
That's what he was, apparently.
The hobo treatment.
I don't know. He had a nice crib. Like, he wasn't a hobo.
Bro, he barely had one if he was able to sawzall the whole damn thing down.
That was
his garage, bro. That was his garage, bitch.
Not the house.
Hey, shout out to his wife, though. She was very patient with my man.
Yeah, outside of when she said, I used to be married to an NBA player.
Hey, I grabbed my shit.
Professional athlete, but I guess we even.
I was like, oh, guess you shouldn't have started that one, Pat.
Well, damn.
because she finished it.
Yeah, like I have seen pictures of Pat Riley from like the 70s with his mustache and his mop top, and I'm like, that man glowed up like he started wearing Armani suits and slicking his hair back and
He was out
clean
here.
shaven. It's just like
Started hanging out with Norm
interesting.
Nixon. He started hanging out with Norm with his thread shop.
Hey.
Get some digs, bro.
But that'll be interesting to track like the progress of like how you get from point A to point B.
With Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting. I did look that up because I was curious if the timeline was legit, but the show is actually messing with the timeline for dramatic effect with Pat Riley.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely was part of the Lakers broadcast team for that season, the 79-80 season, but he actually had joined the booth 2 years before that season. So the show was making it seem like it's all happening at the same time as Dr. Bus is coming on, but he was already part of that team back then. But let's talk about the coach that Dr. Bus actually wanted. Jerry Tarkanian. The Shark.
Tarkanian. Yeah.
Tarkanian, my fault. Tark the Shark. Tarkanian didn't seem interested in that job until his boy, his manager, Vic Weiss, was kind of pressing the issue. Next thing you know, Tark is still like, don't really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Bus decides to fly on out, get the price to go up, and then whose kid is upset right now?
That's mine.
He said, that's mine. But yeah, Jerry busted to go out to Vegas to convince him and whatnot. What was y'all takeaways from that storyline? Did anyone know that the Lakers wanted Tarkanian as their coach?
I feel like
I did.
Might have been aware. I don't know. Like, it's trying to remember what I did know and what I didn't know at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, like with not wanting to ruin the show for me. Like I don't like I want to do a research, but at the same time, like want to make sure I don't go too far and be like, oh shit. So I got to be very selective with what I look up. But I don't think I knew.
And Ken, you said you didn't know.
No, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that they were really looking at him. I think it's dope how, like what transpired, like when they was at the dinner.
Nah, what you mean it's dope?
I ain't saying it's dope, but it was like he was like, yo, what's going on? Like, what just happened, bro? Like, what's going on, B?
Like
Mafia.
You mean?
Hey, look, Mafia cats gave him the week in the gun. Like, yo,
they was all sitting there. Cheers.
Hey, he said my man's his last bottle of champagne for his last dinner, his last supper.
Hey, Dr. Buster, he was so confused. He was like, no, what the fuck happened?
My man's had wise guys on the license plate.
They made that very clear who that was supposed to be.
All right, bro. No, but they said that from the jump. They was like, hey, we got our reservations about, Tark the Shark. I mean, can he coach? Like, hey, listen, bro. We got our reservations for a reason. Like, we ain't even gonna speak their names. That's a bottle of champagne. They ain't got time for that, man.
What was interesting too was like, with him, like they showed in the show off top, like he's paying players to get them to come to Vegas, and that's something that doesn't come out to like years later down the line of like, he was paying players under the table. But as Dr. Bus was saying back then, everybody does it. Like it's the way it worked, but everybody got to be shh and quiet about it.
Yeah. Even the great John Wooden, who supposedly ran a clean program, like he has there's a specific guy that paid like millions of dollars to players like to get them to go to UCLA. So like even his program wasn't clean, which I mean, you ain't winning 13 championships or whatever it is if you do run a clean program.
Yeah, they got who they wanted because they paid for who they wanted.
There you go. I
will say about that dinner though. Shit. Had a brain fart. Hold on. I'm finding it.
Well,
his accountant was going through it, bro.
Frank!
That damn dinner.
My boy Frank.
My man spit out his drink.
Hey.
Flying everywhere. You're like, bro, what is you? $750K. We ain't got that,
broke,
bro. Like, how's he operating with no money?
Hey, he was getting shit done. Getting
Get
shit done with no money, bro.
Ain't showed a dime. Ain't showed a penny. Ain't showed a pink slip. Ain't showed shit, bro. Just hot air.
Hey, Dr. Buster, he the GOAT, bro. He was getting shit done just with a mouthpiece.
Literally.
Like, for real, for real.
He said it was a swan, looking graceful on the outside, but paddling like hell on, well, I guess below the surface.
They definitely are showing that. We are seeing all the under the surface activity right now, but the episode actually ended with when you see Vic Weiss is in the trunk of a car.
Mm-hmm. The wise guy
with Jerry Buss's card, which had me go like, why did they make that artistic decision? Just to clear it up for those who aren't aware, they did not, like, there was no identification found on Mr. Weiss in real life. They didn't have a wallet ID. There was no Dr. Buzz card or anything like that. But yeah, that I'll talk more about it when we talk about episode 4. But I was really curious as to why they did that. But the guy who they do end up hiring, Jack McKinney, comes in for an interview. He was an assistant coach with the Portland Trail Blazers, helped lead them to a championship. He had a really interesting conversation with Jerry West, where he just kind of came in and was like, I want to know what's really real. Like, why are you leaving if this is such a good job? What's up? And Jerry West is trying to be like, who the F are you?
Who? After he said his name, he was like, who?
Like, who? Like, what? But Jack McKinney is a visionary, as you can see. He kind of, the way that the show is framing it, he is like the visionary behind modern offense and making it more fast-paced and introducing Showtime to the world. Because, again, I didn't even know who Jack McKinney was. So next episode, we talk more about him. But, like, the next episode title is accurate. Because that was the same question I had, too. Who the F is Jack McKinney? I was like, Jerry West. Who is he? Who are you?
I thought that Jerry getting mad about who's replacing him, trying to be all involved in the search when you just quit. Like, bro, I hear you. I feel you. You still love the team and everything, but you just turned yourself into a fan. And like a fan, you started criticizing moves immediately. Immediately, bro.
He the logo.
But you even at the office.
He's the logo.
Shit. Shoot.
But you could say, like, he loves the Lakers so much, he knew he wasn't the right coach for him.
Yeah.
So, like, him quitting was I mean, we know from history, like, him quitting was the best thing that happened to him because it got the people in that needed to put the pieces together to really launch that team. So, like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like he is still the logo. He is still, like, the greatest player in the history at that point, the greatest player in history of the franchise. Like, and he still wanted to be involved, just not as head coach. So
yeah.
And that was real. The speech that he gave when he was talking to Dr. Bus, like, yo, I can't do this for you. It's not that I'm scared. He's like, I wish I could be out there playing for you. But me as a coach, this is not the best case scenario. And that's how he felt in real life. He was like, coaching made me a yeller and a screamer. And I don't like being like that. And as we all have seen now in 2022, him in the front office, wherever he stops, has been legit. So
exactly, he gets shit done.
Yeah, it's been legit there. So one thing I will say about Jerry West, in real life, he quit coaching earlier in the summer. It was not 3 weeks before training camp, like the show. The show sets it up, but of course, dramatic effect for the show. Putting that timeline on there makes it feel more urgent. So, you know,
I did like you were saying before, he realized that he wasn't the right coach for the job. But the message I took out of, well, one of the things I was looking at as far as on the messages, because it was beginning of the episode, was fear of failure when handed the tools to succeed with no obstructions. Because, and I think I've been talking about this lately with other people, like, there is a legit fear that people have once you put them in a situation where there's no more excuses that can be made. You're put in the perfect position to succeed. Will you fail or will you succeed? And some people need the excuses there in order for them to feel like they can't succeed. Because if you take away all the excuses, can you really do it, or is it just that you're just not it? And him recognizing that, nah, this ain't it for me. I'm thinking of it on that level, but at the same time, it's still like, yeah, you know, that's dope that you recognize that and don't want to kill the franchise because he probably thinking about he don't want to kill his legacy either.
That self-awareness. Some people don't have self-awareness at all to realize that about themselves. But to wrap up the coaching storyline, in regards to the Weiss murder, we at this point do not know officially who killed him, but organized crime was presumed the entire way through. Apparently, he was helping launder money and was skimming money off the top.
That'll get you killed.
So
immediately.
That will do it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes,
Magic Johnson.
This is what I've been waiting to talk about.
Magic Johnson moving to LA, the other big storyline. Like, you see Magic and Norm kicking it, you know?
My man's Norm is smooth brother, bro.
Norm is hilarious. Fam. I wrote down what he said when he was talking about his clothes. Where did I find it? He said, no, that's my Zastro. No, we're going to talk about Zastro. Hold on.
Zastro, wild boy.
Hey.
Zastro, bro. My man couldn't get off the ride.
Hey, bro.
Norm called Magic's clothes repugnant. And when he took him into the store owner said, "What have you brought me?" All of that had me.
These are my favorite shoes.
What you mean? Damn near the man, nigga. I'm dressed in clothes, bro. What you talking about? Shit, where are you from?
He said, "This fit going, Lansing."
What you mean? This fit?
In Ohio, Michigan.
Like, even today, like a Midwestern dude moved to LA, that's probably the reaction they gonna get. So
yeah,
that felt true to life.
This fit go. He's like, "No, it don't." What's with the haircut too? I'm like, "Your hair don't look much different, bro. None of y'all got linings."
Nobody got linings, bro.
Like linings didn't exist before like 1994.
Everybody should look like somebody hand like this, bro.
Hey,
like,
it look like the
like this. Like
that ain't a lot of like the
that,
Wu-Tang motherfucker. That's what that shit look like.
Close that bitch in. Stop, bro. The whole nine. All right. There you go, bro. Like, no, dog. Ain't nobody get those. No,
that's damn near how Kevin Durant shit look.
This shit was better.
Listen.
But it is interesting to see like Mr. LA, Mr. Glitz and Glamour, Mr. Showtime, like was a Bama, like when he came out there.
Mr. Bama.
And like had to, you know.
Yeah, had to get him right. Had to get him right.
Man wore prom tux to the
bro
to the premiere.
Dude, no.
Listen.
First he wore the tux to go get some pussy though.
Yeah.
Wait. He wore the tux to the premiere of a movie that is called The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if y'all knew what the movie was that Norm Nixon was starring in.
Starring for Norm Nixon is a bit of a stretch.
Right.
Oh shit.
The movie also had Julius Erving, Stockard Channing, Debbie Allen, and Harry Shearer. And The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh is a disco-inspired fever dream of a movie about an astrologer who convinces a basketball team owner to build a roster entirely composed of Pisces.
That is
what?
That was developed by cocaine.
What?
Late 70s movies.
Sponsored by.
That movie was brought to you by cocaine.
For the
Also, Debbie Allen. Yeah. Debbie Allen is Mrs. Norm Nixon. So, now you know.
So, yeah, they go to the movie premiere because Magic was at first, he was like, I can't even make it with you, Norm. I'm going to hang out with Dr. Buzz. You know, that's my guy, and this and this and that.
Doctor.
He gets Dr. Buzz home, and he thinks that Jeannie Buzz is one of Dr. Buzz's slimmies.
Yeah, he looking at her cheeks and everything. Where I don't know what cheeks he's looking at. He's looking at something. Looking at some flapjacks.
He's looking at a leg. He's looking at a leg.
He's looking at flapjacks. He was excited. I'm like, all right, bro.
He said, "Okay, Dr. Buzz, I see you." I'm like, ew.
I'll see you with the young tender.
That's the thing that I feel like the movie does. I mean, the show doesn't really show you, but like Magic is only like 2 or 3 years older than Jeannie, so like, yeah, it actually wasn't like creepy for him to be staring at her, but like obviously, you know, Jerry Buss is seeing girls his age, so I mean, yeah, so
seeing girl, the same age as his daughter, that's what he was on, but because Dr. Buss got the call to go to Vegas at the dinner we already mentioned, Magic decides to go to Norm Nixon's movie premiere, although according to the show here, we only see the back of Norm's head for a brief moment. So. But before Magic walks in, he meets Zastro. Zastro. That man said, "My name is Zastro. Everyone around here calls me Zastro." I said, "What?
What, nigga?
That was a nice joke. And he's like, just call me what I'm learning. Everybody else
Oh,
calls me.
man.
Disaster.
Gave him the card."
They had to save
Yeah.
my man's. Magic was ready off top. Like, yo, what?
Hey, no, Silk gave him some good advice though.
Yeah.
What
He
was the
definitely
advice he
gave
gave him?
He's like, hey, he ain't got shit to lose. I see cats like that all the time. He's like, you do.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah,
Be
hey, that's a
careful.
nice quick word real quick.
He was like, let's go to these seats, my nigga. Let's go to these seats.
And what do Magic do halfway through the movie? Decide,
He had cheeks on the mind.
I'm going to this brothel. All right, I'm about to go see what Zastro talking about. And the way that you see what happens when Magic goes to Zastro's is when he calls his family. Clearly,
Wow.
as I was piecing it together, I'm like, okay, his family's getting ready to go to church. It's still kind of dark where Magic is.
Yeah.
Did Magic just come straight from the brothel and then call his family?
Yeah, he did.
And it just so happened. That's what it seems like.
Because it's 2 hours behind, so it probably
3.
was 5 a.m. and it was 3 a.m.
3 in Michigan, yeah.
Mm.
'Cause Michigan's in the Eastern time zone.
Fresh out.
So-
like 5,
Yeah,
6
so
in the
Senate,
morning.
boy.
5, 6 in the morning. They on their way to
And
church.
they get ready to go to church. And they
It
asking
just-
him, you been eating well?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I have sure have.
Hey,
God
they
is
don't
good.
They don't leave any ambiguity as to how
he was getting to it.
he contracted what he contracted.
Mm.
Hey,
Man,
His-
they
his-
had him
His meal
hidden-
did look delicious.
hey,
Man, eating new random cat in a brothel, like that's
hey,
egregious. Like,
nigga went in
that
for
does not
seconds.
look appetizing. Like,
My man's went in for seconds, boy.
right.
Hey, he put a bib. He threw the bib on. Like,
Use utensils and shit, bro.
hey, bon appetit. This motherfucker.
Man, that is
Hey.
wild.
My man had a prom suit on, bro. he walked in that joint with a prom suit on.
Yeah.
And got to it.
It got right to
Got
it, though.
They broke the fourth wall. He's sitting here doing this thing, looking at us. I said, "Don't look at me while you're doing this. That's a little
Making
too
eye
intimate
contact.
for me."
You see this
I don't
scroll?
need-
You
I don't
see this
need-
nigga look over.
Don't break the fourth wall here, please. I don't need that.
This one they call me Magic.
The
Hey,
magic
you know
man.
what? For that nigga there to be Magic, he sure was getting tricked a lot.
Hey, Trick was on him like a motherfucker the whole time.
Like, bro, cats is just getting whatever information they want out of this man. They just taking him wherever they want him to go. I'm like, God dang, Magic.
Oh,
Hey, man.
Magic. He's trying to adjust. He even called Cookie before he went to the brothel and was
I hope he don't call
trying to
him
put
anymore.
the moves on her to
Man.
wish she was out here. And she's like, "Don't call. All right, bye. All right."
All right, nigga.
This man, he
Bye,
get-
nigga.
He get mad. He get disrespectful. as Fuck, like, God dang.
Hey, oh what, bro?
Man,
He get in
next
his tricks.
episode, I was like,
I was like, he bogus as fuck.
He said I have a double but you wonder why you be in the situations you be in and shit.
man, man. But yeah, Magic was trying to adjust to his life out there. And while he's doing that, Claire and Jeannie were also trying to adjust to figure out how to make the team profitable. And we learned that through his mom, through Dr. Buss's mom, that, the Lakers books are in the big red. I don't mean the soda. I ain't talking about the gum. The big red. It's not
spicy,
looking
though.
good. It is
It's
spicy,
spicy.
like the gum. So apparently, Mr. Kent Cook had took out a balloon loan. So when he built the farm, he didn't pay nothing on it. So Dr. Buss is going to get stuck with that bill. And him and his mom were trying to figure out what they can do with that. And Jeannie walks in the room and they treated her like she was 5 years old, talking about there's a box in my closet. Could you help? Could you grab it? Like,
Get his grandma out. Go and mind some business.
right, go mind some business on over here real quick. But of course she hears them talking about the fact the team is having some financial trouble. So
Mhm.
the Jeannie Buss storyline is interesting to me.
Because none of it is real.
None of it's real. I mean, even Dr. Buss's mother was not alive during this time. So this whole character is kind of like a made up idea of how she would have been acting during the situation. Because we see it more in the next episode, but like Jeannie has seen some things from her dad.
Mhm.
She knows her dad, and I think she struggles with wanting, because she kind of, you can see she idolizes her dad at the same time, but then she realizes on the other side, like, he's kind of a womanizer. Like, you know, like he kind of just,
She has
he
a
be
hard time
paddling.
accepting who he is, but she loves him.
Yes.
They're also setting her character up to be like the inspiration for all the great ideas that the Lakers had, and it's like, really, 17-year-old Jeannie Buss, who wasn't actually working for the Lakers then, like,
are we sure
that's who came up with the Laker
Lakers
girls, that's who came up with the Forum Club, that's who came up with drafting Magic Johnson, like,
all of like, the whole franchise.
Yeah.
It's all Jeannie.
Like, I get why they tried to do it that way, because it's like, we know what Jeannie Buss turns into, and she turns into the sports. We know she's super smart, that she had so many great ideas for the Lakers. She helped advance the Lakers. Like, Ken could probably talk more about it, but like, she is that woman. So like, the show is trying to build it up so you can see how, quote unquote, she got there, but they're making up all the steps to how she got there. Like, and I'm curious too, so Ken, I'm gonna ask you this before we go on the break. Like, with what you know about Jeannie Buss, and of course we know this is all fabricated, but how have you been enjoying her storyline so far throughout the show?
I think I've been enjoying it because I know like who she is and like where she is and like what she's done now. So even though it's like fabricated, I still enjoy seeing like the growth, like from her, like literally starting at the bottom to knowing to like what, like literally what she's done with the franchise like currently. So yeah, I think it's dope. And then it shows like her relationship with her father, like they was, you know, super close and everything like that. And yeah, even like I say, even though it's fabricated, it's like crazy, but it's still enjoyable.
I got a thought
seeing
about
that
her,
growth.
about her and the mom, but we'll talk about that after we come back from the commercial breaks. If listening on TGN, enjoy the commercials you're about to hear. If you're watching on YouTube, we're gonna be right back. Hope y'all enjoyed the commercials. We are back. Tech Foul coming at you, recapping episodes 3 and 4 of Winning Time. We did episode 3 in the first half. We're back now to cover episode 4. Got Tim here, got Eric here, got Ken, myself, Camille. And as I mentioned before going to the break, I think something that's really interesting about this show is how strong they are portraying Jeannie and his mom being in this show, given them like the misogynistic nature of the time period and just how they've been trying to work in what strong women look like.
And Claire.
Into the show. So it's been interesting watching their dynamic with Dr. Buss, and in this 4th episode, especially even his ex-wife, when she comes in, Tim's favorite character. So episode 4.
I was just gonna say it's a nice counterbalance to all the misogyny going on with like Dr. Buss and Magic, and I'm sure the rest of the team once we get to know more of them.
Episode 4 is titled "Who the F is Jack McKinney?" And as I said earlier, it's a question I have myself. Big storylines in episode 4. It's all really revolving around training camp and getting ready for the season. But if you want to break it down, you got the hiring of the coach, you got training camp itself, and then again, keeping the team afloat financially. So I feel like with this one, we can kind of just go in order because it just kind of flows that way anyways. But episode 3 ended, as I mentioned, with Vic Weiss in the back of a trunk. Episode 4 kicks off with Dr. Buss, his ex-wife Joanne, and Jeannie attending the funeral. And Vic Weiss's wife is quite upset to see Dr. Buss, blames him for the death. And that made me, again, my point before, like, did they put the card on him, y'all think, to like try to insinuate that it's partly his fault that he got killed?
I think so, which would be the reason why Tark the Shark. I think it's just connected to making him leave or not take the job. I think that's what. If it's not a true thing, or if it didn't happen like that in real life, then that would be the only thing that I could think of. Is they want that to tie into that to make him like that'd be my out because she felt like my boy got killed because of him.
Because of him.
See, I read it a different way. Like I read it more so that like the mob, like yeah, obviously like we know what happened with Vic and skimming money and all that stuff, but I think that they're also trying to show that the mob was connected to the UNLV program and that they had a vested interest in Tark staying with UNLV and they had a good setup. and thus the Lakers trying to take
Away.
Tarkanian away from UNLV. Like they were trying to stop that, as well as obviously, taking out a guy that was stealing from him. So I think that having the card on him like kind of ties it back to, we don't want. You think you're gonna leave for the Lakers? Like, no, fuck that. Like, you stand.
And the reality situation is that in real life, Tark the Shark did decline the job, but it was because when the news, his friend did die, but he was still going to take the job. But what happened is that the news leaked that he was going to the Lakers, and everybody in Vegas just was like sending him all this love, like, please don't leave. Like, we want you here. We love you here. His kids didn't want to go. His wife was kind of like, I know they're going to buy us cars and pay us all this money, but like, we kind of like what we got going on here. And he was, I'm gonna just stay here.
I also think about the comparison of college basketball to NBA basketball at the time. Like college basketball was even by that point like an institution. Like we said in episode 1, like Michigan State, Indiana State was like the highest rated basketball game in history, like pro and college. So like it wasn't necessarily like taking a demotion to go to the NBA, but it also wasn't like it is now where it's like you in college, you need to go up and play where the big boys are or whatever. So
yeah, and the money was different back then too, because as Tarkanian was saying, like, he's like, y'all wasn't gonna pay me that much more. Like, what? Until Dr. Bus blew the doors off and had Frank choke on his food, talking about some, I'll pay you.
That man almost died at that
table. But that means the Lakers had to go with their second choice, who is Jack McKinney. And that had me doing all the Google. So like, who is Jack seriously, who is Jack McKinney? And to find out that he is the man that had the idea of Showtime. Like, there were other coaches who had motion offenses, but him bringing to the NBA was different because, as he was pointing out, like, everybody was playing the exact same way in the NBA at that time, and he was trying to do something completely different. So he gets a job. He calls Paul Westhead up and is like, hey, I need to be my assistant. Let's roll out. The way that Paul Westhead quit his job had me cracking up, because he's in his office. The boss comes in and he was like, are you finished? And he's like, F&A, yeah, I am. I was like,
F&A.
All right. Go ahead then. Go ahead. So with their coach in tow, it's time for training camp. And we learned a lot about the team itself in training camp. I will say episode 4 has been my favorite episode so far. Yeah, I was like, it's crazy when you get into actual basketball stuff on a basketball show, how much it can improve.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that. I was like, oh, we getting a basketball now.
We hooping. All
right, we talking about the motion offense and the concepts. Okay, let's do this.
And I think the way that the show explains basketball is done in a way that's really, really well done. Because I think they do it in a way that has people who, if you're not a big basketball fan, you can understand it. Like, you can understand jazz versus classical music. You can understand the colorful cartoon version of Magic Johnson's fully realized self, of how he wants to play basketball. Like, the way they explained it made so much sense.
And that's also a way to get around the fact that Quincy Isaiah can't play basketball like Magic Johnson. Like,
I mean, who can? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But my favorite part about the training camp thing was how they transitioned there, where you see every player like driving up to training camp and you're getting some information about their backstory. Michael Cooper looked like a sucker out there with his wife fixing the car.
That's the first thing I said. I was like, bro, he didn't know what a screwdriver was. I'm like, this dude here, bro.
All of them had their women driving them to practice, except for, I think, somebody was driving by themselves. I noticed that immediately. Like, wait, all they women driving them to practice? I'm like, hey, you got your girl on the ground without giving her a screwdriver?
Bro, she was in there getting to work too, bro.
Oh, he better not disappoint her. She gonna whoop his ass.
Hey, don't worry.
Sure, you ain't got time for none of that. I wasn't even looking, baby. You was about to.
I was like, and we ain't going. And we ain't going. It was funny too seeing young Michael Cooper, especially knowing like he becomes like, somewhat of a valuable piece to that team, and he was fighting for his NBA life. It felt like
for real. Yeah.
Yeah, too.
It was also kind of fun seeing Kareem does not look happy in any. I've not seen this man smile yet.
No,
Kareem seems like he just dreads to be around, bro. Like, he just sucks all the energy out of everything. He come in the room just looking and shit. You like, bro, what is wrong with you?
Can't
Man.
nobody sit down, so Cap sit down.
Exactly. And that nigga wouldn't. I was like, how he the captain? This nigga ain't vocal. He ain't bringing the
running.
team together. This nigga ain't doing shit, bro. Hey, when they was running outside, this nigga left. I was like, man.
Okay.
Turned around and walked back.
That man was running in Birkenstocks, first
Bro.
off.
I don't
Hey,
give a
that's
shit.
his fault, goddammit. Motherfucker.
It was a team meeting, not a practice. He ain't no
Hey.
just running the ball.
Hey,
Hey, no,
stay
bro.
ready. Hey, if you stay ready, you gotta
Right,
get
you
ready.
should have brought some tennis shoes. Why ain't you bring
Well,
some tennis
Kareem
shoes?
Abdul-Jabbar, like, you run when you want to run,
Shit.
as he showed y'all, because he left.
Yeah.
Then we
All
had the
right.
shoes. He still them running them.
What they gonna do? Fire?
Hell no.
That time I was like, okay, the man had Birkenstocks on. He can't be out here running. He'll mess himself up. But then in practice, they was running again, and he just took his shoes off and said, I'm not doing this.
I'm up out of here.
I didn't have nothing. I was like, I can't explain this one.
No, bro. Nah, bro. And that's that diva shit. That's the shit that. Nah, bro. That shit ugly. It'd be ugly if then the other players want to do it and they ain't him. But yeah, it's ugly.
Hey,
That get
everybody
ugly.
on that team, all his teammates seem to understand that he operated by a different set of rules, and they was all cool with it. Because as they even mentioned when they were arguing, because the players didn't seem to like McKinney's new system.
Mhm.
And they were talking about it like, Cap, you know what, you want to come with us? We gotta talk. And he's like, no, thank you. And they're just kind of like, well, okay.
I did, nigga.
Well, he's too proud to go and talk to him. Like, bro, y'all done came with an excuse for this man already. He don't give a shit.
Kareem was different.
Yeah, he definitely was different.
Had
This-
Magic as his rookie. Give me some orange juice in the paper.
Hey man, I'm sorry. He would have called some fuck yous with all that. I would have threw that juice in his face first time. Nigga, man, fuck you. Nigga got me waking up early to bring you some goddamn juice, nigga.
You know how I know Ken lying? Because like Kareem was the Kobe of his day, and if Kobe told him to do that shit, he would be like, "Yes, sir, Mr.
Dog.
Bryant."
Dog,
Here's your orange
Ken would
juice.
have been in there
How about
churning
your
the fuck
bagel
out
too?
of some juice, bro. you like this? More pope, no pope, more pope was his pope, you know.
Ain't this about a bitch? When this become about
Juice.
me? You know what? I'm out of here. Hey, I'm finna pull a him. All right, motherfucker. Let's go. Shit. I see where I'm not welcome in this motherfucker.
Oh, you been welcome, all right? He need that juice.
Hey, but he finally got that. He was like, nigga, at least sip the juice. Shit.
He's like,
Right.
sip it.
At least taste the damn juice.
This nigga, how you know if the juice good just looking at the shit? All orange juice look the same, motherfucker.
Oh, one time he didn't even
Unless-
take the paper or the juice. I'm like, bro, come on now.
He said the LA Times.
The nigga
ain't no
said it's the
newspaper.
paper. Nigga, what paper you want?
He wants the new. He's cultured. He wants the New York Times.
Yeah,
Probably
nigga,
like this.
he would have nigga eat a dick. Motherfucker. Come on. He want this motherfucker.
That's where it gets to. After that, it just
As I mentioned, though, the players were having a hard time adjusting to this new system. I really did like how you see Magic trying to be Magic and throw these passes during practice.
It's not working.
It's like he's playing dodgeball. He was just out here
Hey,
trying to-
niggas get hit in the chest like, oh, nigga gonna keep trying. Hey, niggas squared up with him. Like, hold on.
Why you pass me wide open like that? What's wrong with you?
I'm wide open. What? All of it was wide open, bro.
All of wide open. I can't believe you passed me the ball like that. Look at me. Wide open and shit.
Just doing dime passes off top and niggas was angry.
I ain't post up yet. Post up.
I ain't get to my spot. Wait,
Boy, you at the rim. Go up. Go up. What you posted up?
Oh,
They had
no.
Magic looking at them just like disgusted. He was sitting there looking at them in practice like, y'all are messing up the dimes here.
Dog.
I mean, they was big mad too, man. The rookie hit me in the face again. I'm gonna have to fuck him up.
Catch the ball. They gonna catch you.
Right. Use your hands.
Don't use his face like, oh, my.
They ran into each other like, what y'all doing?
Exactly. Y'all got to see how y'all.
How y'all do that? How y'all fall that hard?
Fam, the way they collided with each other,
How y'all
That
hard?
made
How
both
no
of them-
sense.
both of them left their feet.
Ain't no way in the world. I would have left practice like, all right, man, y'all.
And they have the same color jersey on, so y'all the same teammates. Like,
Exactly, bro. Y'all teammates. Y'all on the same squad running into each other.
What y'all
like
doing?
That's
Blame
great
me.
artistic direction there, because as you can see, they made you believe like these dudes suck. Like they are not gelling well. A team don't work, B team don't work. Don't matter which one is out there, it's just not working. All the players go to talk to Jerry West about it. I forget who was it. Ron Boone, is that what the player's name was?
Yeah, I think I looked it up. I think he's currently the TV guy for the Jazz, apparently.
Interesting.
And then like they talked about Dantley, like that is Adrian Dantley. I didn't realize he was a Laker for a minute. That man kept getting traded and like was just giving buckets like all around the league, but he couldn't stay nowhere. Like I think he was in Utah for the longest. And
He was a valuable piece.
5 or 6 years.
No, the way they was walking, Jerry West thought it was gonna be two players coming to talk to him, and
He
they
looked
just
like-
kept filing. He looked like
He looked out the window, like looked at the door, like God damn, I only got no clothes on.
Right.
Y'all look, I got girls on at this point.
So that leaves Jerry West to go talk to Jack McKinney, like, hey, yo, I know you want to levitate and everything like that, but you gotta keep your feet on the ground, like compromise a bit, do some of your new stuff, do some of the old stuff. And McKinney is like, no, that's not my system. I'm doing what I need. Get me the players I need to do what I want to do instead of trying to make it work with what I got. Kind of like the Lakers' problem now, where it's like you gave Frank Vogel all these players who don't fit his system, and now they like make it work. He's like, it's not going to work. It's not what I'm asking
Any
for.
system, but
Yeah,
it's a different conversation for a different day.
but it's wild that they literally had this man levitating though over the chair when he was in the chair.
Jedi shit on.
I was like, dog. That was dope.
I liked it because they the way they filmed it made it seem as if like he's like a true visionary. Like the way he was able to see the paper with the X's and O's coming off of it, and he's levitating, and you're just like,
He got stutter dribbles going up the court. Like, oh, okay, what we doing
It was
over here?
He's the guru out here.
his film session where he's like, okay, here's this. Took 23 seconds for y'all to. I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad basketball has evolved.
He was fucking him up. I'm like, damn, you're using the whole shot clock. The whole shot clock.
He said you're using 23 seconds to miss.
All game.
Got it.
Ooh. No.
And although the show makes it seem as if the players, hated the scheme of it in real life, they loved it. They the ability to be able to play more open, a more fast-paced offense. Like he was almost like immediately embraced by the Lakers roster, where they were like, "Yo, run it all costs. We down for this." But the only friction that they actually had in real life was between Norm Nixon and Magic Johnson, because both of them were like, "I'm the point guard. I'm the point guard." So there was some beef there with that. But once they figured out how to kind of play together, as we saw in the episode, it worked out. Also, fun fact: the fight with Magic Johnson and Pat Boone, that really did happen. Like they really did get into a fight in practice. Apparently, Magic did not yell out, "Although I'm working, I'm not your beat." Apparently, the real language used was a little bit less vulgar, but along the same lines. They just kind of beefed it up because it's HBO. You gotta
spice it up.
Going back to the meeting with Jerry West, like I thought it was funny. Like Norm, he was in there with him, but when they asked him, he like, I don't know, man, let's give him a chance. They're like, oh, you traitor ass nigga.
He started hooping. He was like, hey, bro, hey, low key, this might work out. This might be it.
What
He's
you
like,
come in
Magic
here
nice,
for?
man.
You want to give him a chance, like,
Right,
you know
like
what
low
this
key,
mean is.
my boy kind of nice.
Hey, we're Magic nice out here, man. I don't know.
Right.
You see that?
I don't know, man.
You see that? With that long tooth?
He said, I can catch you fast. It's cool with me. It was fun seeing them together in that last practice that had all the pressure on McKinney, where it's like, you need to show something because you got Dr. Buzz here, you got Wes here, you got, what's his name, Bill Sharon, I believe, the GM of the team.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching and trying to see what you can do. And his decision to play Norm and Magic together paid off some dividends there for him. So it was fun to see that.
Like it's hard for me because like obviously I didn't see basketball pre-Showtime era, but it's like, why would you think that wouldn't work? Like, play your best players at the same time. Like, I don't know. Like, you could have two ball handlers if like they can also play off the ball. I don't know.
That's the thing. Go ahead.
Maybe it was an old school mindset. Like, some cats feel like if you get a point guard and you draft a point guard, there's only one of them can start. You drafted a shooting guard to start at shooting guard. And so on and so forth. So they were like, hey, we drafted a point guard. We already got one. Only one of them can start.
I guess I can get that defensively because then you usually would have two point guard size players. But if you have big ass Magic Johnson, like you kind of have a little bit more flexibility defensively, which would allow you to play two ball handlers at the same time.
And like you mentioned, to us it makes sense because that's what we've seen for most of our lives. But I can imagine being the first one to think like, you know what? Why do we always do it this way? Why can't I have it like this. I can imagine people being like, well, why would you even do that? Like the way it's
put them in a post. No.
Right. Like the way
No.
it's working, the way we've been doing things has been working. Why are you trying to change the formula? So like the first time you ever do something different, you normally are kind of like met with some type of resistance because people like it's been working. Why are you messing with stuff? So
yeah.
Except for the running.
I'm glad
y'all wasn't running and winning. Y'all can run and win now.
I'm super glad they changed it because again, the evolution of basketball has been beautiful to watch. I'm so glad it has evolved because I can understand why golf was more popular than basketball back then.
Golf was faster than basketball.
Imagine if you got Magic Johnson running point and all he does is walk the ball up the court and then dump it into Kareem in the post. Like, boo! What's even the point at that point?
Tomato.
23 seconds, bro. He said y'all came up the court, dumped it off. 6 to 8 dribbles later, hook shot. This the one y'all did the most.
Sky hook.
It's also the most effective.
Like, can't stop that joint.
That's what McKinney was like. He's like, that's always going to be there. Like, let's figure out some other things that we can do to help spice this up some. So again, this has been my favorite episode so far. And on the other side of it, you see the financial aspect of it. The episode opened with a young Jeannie and her family at a restaurant. They run into their dad. They're like, "Oh, can we sit with dad?" And some young woman comes in. And
Young
Joanne, the mama is like, "No, we going to our table."
And
they leave. Right, they leave. Dr. Bus starts getting the pop going on, and
he's playing with a throat early. I'm like, oh, that's what we on
from the table.
At the table.
As he's getting his pop on, Jeannie walks back over, and I was like, "Isn't there a tablecloth? Like, how is she?"
They dead center of the damn restaurant. They walked in the building, seeing him immediately. Why? He was like, in the building. Would you be surprised that you got caught?
I would expect you to be here. Hey, kids.
I know you right here at the entrance, but shit. Didn't expect y'all to walk in and notice me immediately. I'm only sitting by the door.
Hey, he nasty, bro. You know he smelled his finger afterwards too, bro.
I think he touched Jeannie.
He touched her.
Hey, he rubbed her face.
I hope it was the other hand.
I was trying to figure out.
He filthy, bro.
I was like, was that the same hand that he?
Bro, first of all, we in a restaurant, bro. It is food. He's bad. Like, I don't give a damn.
Getting the shit off in the restaurant without kids and shit like that. Like if you're in the back corner or something like that, trying to be on some public sneaky shit, like trying to be adventurous, is one thing.
All right, now.
But you by the entrance.
All right now.
In the middle of the damn restaurant.
With
no tablecloth. I don't even think there's plates on that bitch.
Hey, they had no bread on it.
Nothing. Maybe a glass of water, a fork or two.
Hey, he will wait for the cooch.
But that's the thing that's crazy with it, because like that's a crazy scene to open up an episode with. But then you see he has a nudie book, which is pictures, and it's an old school family photo. Like it's a thick.
It's not a little black book. My man had a big red binder. My guy,
he was just
complete with
illustrations. Choose it. I'm gonna call her today.
But
can't even hide it. Book falls over.
And she sees it, and that again, it goes to what we were talking about. Like she's trying to figure out how she feels about her dad, and then when she realizes the fact that like my dad's kind of living a fantasy, we can like this is what he's gonna want to bring to his team, a fantasy. We need to give people that escapism. She took the nudie book to work.
They flipping it like, titties. Okay.
I'm like, y'all real casual with this binder full of women.
They just flipping through. Claire's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right. Like she didn't give her no context. She just handed her the book. Like, this is what we gonna do. What we gonna
she opened it up like titties.
Like I know you didn't like the slam dunk, but
you could have warned me. For
I do want to say someone needs to bring that mascot back. Slam duck is a hilarious. I love it. I need that to be a real mascot. I love that.
So the dude that was playing Slam Duck, like they wrote the thing. It was like future billionaire. Who is that?
So
did you look it up?
That is, I believe his name is. I think it's Les Rosen, but I'll double check his name. But who he ends up becoming is Magic's agent.
Oh, so he's the one that was crying in the car.
Yes.
Okay.
So what happens is, he's working at the firm, an intern, and as he develops relationships, he becomes a sports agent and he represents Magic. And I think Jerry West at some point, and he continues to build his own empire that way.
Okay.
But yeah, they tried, and Jeannie, got cool with the intern, smoking some grass, in the bowels of the the office.
Cool.
Right.
It was like, first of all, who are you?
Right. Are you the
intern? Or are you his daughter?
You the snitch? No. We trust you.
She was like, roll that shit up.
Never smoked a day in her life. Roll that up.
Roll that up.
Let's go. But they do, as Eric mentioned, like they kind of give Jeannie Buss like the credit of developing the Laker girls, but in real life, that was Dr. Buss. Of course, it was to no one.
Exactly.
That he was the one to be like, no, we need some Laker girls out here, just kind of
spandex and hot pants.
All he wanted. That's what he wanted.
Flapjacks everywhere.
So they,
Hey, sponsored by IHOP.
Get your ass.
Claire, Jeannie, and the gang present him what Showtime is going to look like, and with the Laker girls, with the Forum Club, with the celebrities in the front row, and he's all aboard. So he felt good about that. Probably really good after the fact that Jeannie was also able to convince convince her mom, his ex-wife, to sign the paperwork that his mom put together to help him financially, which would put the team in her name and keep the balloon loan with him so that they could file for bankruptcy. He won't lose his team. They can get out this jam and keep it moving.
Boy, they know how to find some loopholes, don't they?
Boy,
that's how they stay rich. That's how they stay rich.
That's a fact.
That's because they don't want to write the rules. They know how to get around them.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the fact checking of that, so it is true that Dr. Buss has some financial struggles taking on the Lakers because in the red, and he also spent a lot of money on them. Like he was defaulting in loans in the 80s later on, but in real life, his wife never took control of the team. What happened, how he was able to get out the jam with the loan, he got a loan from a friend. Do y'all know who that friend happened to be?
Donald Sterling.
Thank you, Hefner.
That's who he called to get the money in real life. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
That
episode ends. It's showtime. It's the last words you hear, and I'm like, I can't wait for the next episode to see where we go because I want to see how the show depicts what happens to Jack McKinney, and then how Pat Riley gets from announcing and being an errand boy to being coach of the Lakers. So it should be fun. Anything else y'all want to say about this episode before we wrap it up?
How are y'all feeling about the show overall? Like, just real quick, like maybe rate it or just say, it's okay, it's good. Like, where you at?
For me, episode 4 showed the potential. Like, it's been cool, but episode 4 was when I was like, okay, we really might be able to go somewhere with this. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we go.
Yeah, I've definitely been entertained the entire time. But yeah, episode 4 showed like, okay, like it's a basketball show. So once you start getting into basketball, you can really like, get the momentum going. So I'm excited. Like now, at first I was like, okay, I'm watching it, every week. But now I'm more like, I can't wait to see it next week and see like where they go now.
What about you, real quick?
I'm entertained, but I wished it moved a little bit faster.
We got 10 episodes, man. They got to. Yeah. Although we're going through a whole decade, so I don't know how they're gonna do that. But hey man. We'll talk about it as it unveils.
7, 8, 9.
We'll keep it going. So appreciate everybody tuning in to this episode of Overtime. We hope y'all enjoy. Hope y'all have been enjoying the show itself. And we're going to hit y'all with our socials and get up out of here until the next time. So if you want to follow me on social media, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On Twitter, Instagram, and these PSN, 2K, and GTA streets at Camille Monet, CAMILLE MONAE, because
your mom is fancy.
Thank you, sir.
Got Buzz Burner on Twitter.
That's all you get.
Yep.
everyday_gentleman on Instagram, K Harris 216 on Twitter and Snapchat.
And it's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. Peace.
See y'all later. Y'all be safe. Take care of yourselves and all that good stuff.